the radical Marxist left and the sympathizers of the radical Islamic terror, who Democrats have imported from all over the world, have united around their hatred of America and their hatred for Israel. They have hatred. The toxic poison of anti-Semitism now courses through the veins of radical Democrat Party. I mean, this is a radical group of people. I never thought I'd see that either. They have gone crazy. And instead of expunging this hatred, Kamala Harris is pandering to it. He wouldn't even meet Bibi. He wouldn't talk to him, didn't want to talk to him, didn't want to mention. When they finally were forced to meet, she wouldn't be there. She wouldn't be in Congress. And they were forced to meet. It was like she couldn't stay. She just wanted to get out of the room. You can't have that. She'll let it go. She'll let Israel go. We're here tonight because we believe that this vicious outbreak of militant anti-Semitism is very militant, must be given no quarter, no safe harbor, no place in a civilized society. We must reject it in our schools, reject it in our foreign policy, reject it in our immigration system, and reject it at the ballot box this November. You know, Jewish people have to not vote by habit. You vote by habit for Democrats, and the Democrats are really against you now. If you look at what they're doing, they're absolutely against you. You have to stop. You have to be smart. People can't believe that. I mean, with all of the things, it was so nice that you read them off, but Golan Heights, the Abraham Accords, the biggest thing, I was talking to Sheldon, before he passed away. He said the biggest thing you did was terminating the Iran nuclear deal. The problem is, and then, of course, Jerusalem and the embassy and the capital of Israel. But the Iran nuclear deal was the biggest thing. The problem is this administration did nothing with it. Iran was broke. They were broke. Nobody could do business with them. I said, anybody that does business with them, meaning oil, it's all about oil. Oil is the big money. You know, people make donuts and they make lots of things. It's all about the oil. Oil is the big money. They were broke. And I said to China, I said to every country, I said, any business with Iran, you can't do business with the United States. And I'm going to tariff the hell out of you if you do. And nobody did business. They all believed me 100%. President Xi, all of them. And, you know, they had no money, and they had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah. They had no money for anyone. You read this toward the end of my term, and nobody had money to do anything. October 7th it just never would have happened. And then you see in the last 3.5 years, they have $300 billion right now. $300 billion. They're a really rich nation. And because we made the mistake, that was Bush, of attacking Iraq and blowing it out. You know, for thousands of years, they were enemies. They were natural enemies under different names. But they were the same size. They were the same power, thousands of years. And we wiped out one of them in about 2 weeks. And the other one, well, we wiped out Iraq. The other one took over Iraq because basically it's a subsidiary of Iran. It's also got tremendous wealth. It's got $250 billion. So Iran has $550, $600 billion that they made all during the 3.5 years of these two people. And it's hard to believe, but they're a very rich country now, and they're trying to develop nuclear weapons. And not trying, they're very close to getting it. And once they have it, it's you better have the right president. Once they have it, it's going to be very tough negotiating. It's one thing negotiating when they don't have nuclear weapons. It's another thing negotiating when they do, I can tell you, because I did a good job with North Korea. But it's much more difficult, like from a different planet. As our close ally confronts a savage terrorist enemy, hell-bent on extremism, really, and the extermination of the Jewish state, which is what they want. It says it all the time. We will totally eradicate Israel. They say that. The leaders of Iran say it, and others in the Middle East say it. We must stand with our friend and partner, the state of Israel. We will, strongly. And you'll be okay if you have the right president. You have the wrong president, like her, honestly, you don't have a chance. when you look at the odds. When you look at a map of the Middle East, Israel is a tiny little spot compared to these giant land masses. It's really a tiny spot. I actually said, is there any way of getting more? It's so tiny. It just doesn't look. It's amazing how it can defend itself. But, when you look at Iran and you watch their armies today, I was watching their armies. They have hundreds of thousands of people. It's big. It's very big. And we gave it much more power by, I told them on Iraq, I said, don't go into Iraq and don't bomb it, but if you're going to do it, keep the oil. Well, we did it, and we didn't keep the oil. It used to be in the old days, to the victor belonged the spoils. We don't do that. We go and bomb people and leave, and nobody knows what happened. What did we do? Like Afghanistan, the most embarrassing day in the history of our country was Afghanistan. We gave them $85 billion worth of equipment, lost 13 soldiers, but also 47 soldiers were obliterated. No legs, no arms, the face. And such stupid people. That would have never happened. None of that would have ever happened. We wouldn't have inflation. We wouldn't have had the Israeli attack. We wouldn't have the Russian attack on Ukraine. None of it would have happened if we didn't have a bad election. Even though we got 12 million more votes than we did before. We got many more votes than we did. We did much better in 2020 than we did in 2016. But all of that took place in a short period of time. But we must declare that without hesitation that what happened to Paris and happened to London, have you seen what's going on? And what happened to Europe will never happen here. But it is happening. It is happening. They say that going to the Democrat convention next week are going to be hundreds of thousands of people that are opposed to Israel. It's their big problem. That's their thing. And not even believable, but hundreds of thousands they're projecting right now. Hundreds of thousands. That's a lot. We will not let a jihad. There will be no jihad coming to America under Trump.